Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day today. Merciless Vaughn here with another video, and it is now time for another limit breaker quest. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, you've been here for a while, subscribe. And also I just want to say thank you for helping me get to 350 subscribers. Now let's just go ahead and get to 400. Now with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. As you see here, the limit breaker quest will be available the 1st all the way through the 15th, so you have 2 weeks to get it done, but the sooner you get it done, the better. So we can just go ahead and take a look at the stage rules. For the first slot, we have Mine, Attribute, Melee, Quincy, Enemies. So just basically bring a Mine, Melee, Quincy, Killer unit to have all of the buffs active. There's also the Weakened status helmet in this stage. So for the second slot here, we have melee damage times 2, killer effect times 5, and paralysis status element. So basically you want to bring a Mind, Soul Reaper, killer unit that is immune to the status element. But if they're not immune, you just got to watch out for that status element that is on the ground. And for the last slot, we have Speed Ranker units, and also the Freeze status element is on the ground. So I say these are some I'd say the second and third slot are definitely some of the easier ones. And as for the first slot, this is usually just catered toward whatever new unit is out right now. So since it's, I believe, the end of month banner came out yesterday, and I believe it's going to be, just one of those units that you can use for the best in slot ones here. But anyways, let's just go ahead and take a look at some units you can use for these stages. Alright, so first up we do have the new Ishin. Like I mentioned, usually the first slot in every new limit breaker quest is just kind of catered towards one of the new end of month units. And so for this one, it's going to be the Ishin. As you can see here, his soul trait is the spiritual pressure boost 40%. And he's a melee unit, so you will get that bonus melee damage. He is immune to weakened status elements that is on the ground in the first slot, so that's great. He has lacerate and burn on all of his attacks except for his soul bomb. He has lacerate and weaken on his soul bomb. Havoc 20%. He has a 50% berserker. His devastation is 60%, which is really high. Reduce strong attack cooldown, rampage, frenzy +2. He has the increased status element chance against heart attribute enemies, weakened defense, poise, marauder, and the status element spiritual pressure boost. So he's kind of like the 1000-year Blood War King dude, to where he has a spiritual boost soul trait and he has the 80% spiritual pressure boost in his kit. So this unit is going to have a 120% full 120% spiritual pressure boost. And with the increased status element chance skill, you'll be able to proc this more often than, characters that don't have that skill. Alright, so another unit we have here is this Grimjo, who has a strong attack damage plus 35% soul trait. He is a melee unit, so you will be getting that melee bonus damage in there. He has drained on his strong attacks, as you can see here. He has Havoc 20%, guard break, his strong attack damage 35%, devastation 40%, reduce strong attack cooldown 12%, frenzy +1, increased status element chance against heart attribute enemies, damage to drained enemies 40%, status element spiritual pressure boost 80%, and increased mind attribute and ranker damage to status element affected enemies. So this is really another good unit that you can use. The only thing is you'll just have to be mindful of the weakened status element that's on the ground, So other than that, yeah, he's pretty much another great unit that you can use. And since he does have drained, if you just somehow so happen to take a hit, you do have, you are able to get your full stem back paired along with this skill. It'll make it easier for you to inflict the status element. And when you do drain enemies, you get 40% more damage and also a little bit more, 40% on top of that. But I believe this is calculated differently. And not to mention the status element spiritual pressure boost. So overall, another great unit. Just be careful of the weakened status element. So another unit that we have here is the Balgo Inosuchi. He has the strong attack recharge time minus 12% as his soul trait. He is a ranged unit, so unfortunately you won't get that bonus melee damage. He's also not immune to any status elements, so you're going to have to be careful of the weakened status element that is on the ground. But he does have Havoc 20%, Sharpshooter, Frenzy +1, Bombardment, increased status element chance against heart attribute enemies, any status element spiritual pressure boost. So this is still a great unit that you can use. He's just not a melee unit, so no bonus melee damage, and he's not immune to any status elements. Alright, so we have this Orihime here. She has a soul trait of damage inflicted at full stem plus 30%. Range unit, no status element, heal on her SA3. It is also a charged SA3. She has the medic skill. At full stamina, she has reduced strong attack cooldown 6%, and she has a full stamina damage boost in her innate skills. Her berserker and devastation are at 60%, reduced strong attack cooldown 12%, full stamina damage boost plus 30%. When it's in the skills and in the innate skills, they are calculated differently, I do believe, so keep that in mind. Frenzy +1, guard break plus hit enemies, and healer. So I guess you can use this unit as kind of a support-like unit. Just use her SA3 if your units take damage. You'll be able to get them back to full stamina. And at full stamina, she's obviously going to be doing a lot of damage and have, just even more reduced strong attack cooldown. But she's a ranged unit, so no bonus melee damage, and, she's not immune to any status elements. So you do have to watch out for those status elements on the ground. Alright, so we have this Lisa here who is a couple years old now. She has the strong attack, recharge time minus 12% soul trait. She's a melee unit with lacerate and paralysis on all of her attacks except for her NAT. It's only lacerate, but you really won't be using that. She has damage to lacerated enemies 40%. Guard break, her berserker, and devastation are both at 40, relatively low for units nowadays. Havoc 20%, frenzy +1, defibrillator +5 seconds. Increased status element chance against heart attribute enemies. Increased mind character strong attack damage 20%. And the status element spiritual pressure boost. So this is still a very, very good unit. She's not immune to any status element, so you have to be careful of the status element on the ground, but she is a melee unit, so you will get that bonus melee damage. And that's pretty much it for the units that you can use for the first slot. One unit that you can use for the second slot stages will be this Momo. She has a soul trait of hard droplet drop plus 30%. She's a ranged unit, no status elements on her abilities. And since she's a ranged unit, you won't get that bonus melee damage, but she does have a boost on her SA2. She does dodge Soul Reaper damage, so you'll be dodging 50% of the Soul Reaper's hits. And she has the complete status immunity, so you don't have to worry about the status element that is on the ground. Her berserker is at 60%, which is high. She does have the reduced strong attack cooldown 12%. Frenzy +1, damage to enemies not affected by an ailment 100%. And she does have the enhancer and booster skill, so these skills will only make her SA2 even stronger. And she does have guard break. So you can bring this unit. She'd be good. She's immune to all status elements. She's dodging hits, and she'll actually buff your party as well with the enhancer and booster skills that she has for her SA2. So if you want to bring her just to support your other two units, you definitely can, and she'll do some pretty good damage herself with this skill as well. Alright, and so right here we have the best unit in the game, in my opinion, the 8th Anniversary White. I've talked about this unit so many times already. He's immune to all status elements, and he's a melee unit, so you will be getting that, just pretty much feeling the melee bonus in here. Lacerate, drained. He increases mind character's movement speed 30%, so yeah, that's pretty good. Havoc 20%, frenzy +2, bombardment, increased status element chance against the heart attribute enemies, and he also increases character special move damage 30%. Damage to lacerated enemies 40%, damage to drained enemies 40%, weakened defense, and the status element spiritual pressure boost. Yeah, this unit, he does great amounts of damage. His soul bomb hits hard. He has bombardment. He has built-in weakened defense, so you can give him weakened defense T20 just to make the soul bomb hit even harder. So yeah, I still think this is the best unit in the game. Another unit you can use is the 7th Anniversary Ichigo. He has the strong attack recharge time minus 14%, which is good. You don't see that on a lot of SP units. He's a ranged unit, so unfortunately you will not get that bonus melee damage. He has paralysis and weaken, and he's also able to inflict that every 5 seconds. Havoc 20%. His berserker is 40%. He has the share complete status immunity. So yeah, he'll just be immune to the status element in his stage and make others immune to it as well. But there's different status elements in the different stages, so it really doesn't matter for that. But he's still immune to it. Frenzy +1, bombardment +1, sharpshooter hit hidden enemies, and the status element spiritual pressure boost. So yeah, this is a unit that you can use. He is immune to the status elements, but you won't get that bonus melee damage in there. But still a very, very good unit, except for a strong attack one. It's just extremely bad. And so we have this Byakuya here, who is a NAD unit, as you can tell with his normal attack damage soul trait being at 30%. He doesn't have any status elements on his abilities, but he is a melee unit, so you will get that bonus melee damage. He is able to dodge Soul Reaper damage, so you will be dodging, half of the attacks that are thrown at you. He's immune to the weakened status element, but it doesn't matter here because it is the Prowess status element. His Bruiser is 80%, which is very high. His Berserker's at 60%, which is high for a NAD unit. He also does have the reduced strong attack cooldown 12%, Flurry +1, and Poise and Marauder. But this is just a pretty old Guild Quest unit that you can use if you don't have any of the previous units that I mentioned before. But I really like NAD units. You don't have to wait around for their strong attacks to come back. You can just pretty much just use his NAD string to do most of the damage. And so we have this end of 1000-Year Blood War Ichigo here that you can use. Soul Trait is the strong attack recharge time minus 12%. Melee unit boost on his SA2 and a chance to insta-kill on the Soul Bomb. He is immune to the Paralysis status element, which is great because that is the Paralysis element in this current Limit Breaker quest. He has a 60% Berserker, decreased devastation 16%, Havoc 20%, Frenzy +1, Bombardment +1, Enhancer, Sprinter +2, and also Marauder. So yeah, this is another unit you can use. He has a boost on his SA2 and as well as the Enhancer, which is great. So you'll get some value out of that. Him being a melee unit, you'll get the bonus damage, and him being immune to the status element in there, you really don't have to worry about it. So this is a pretty old unit, so you may have this unit, you may not. And that's pretty much it for units for the second slot. So as far as for the last slot, melee or range units, they really don't matter, but you do have this 1000-Year Blood War Rangyaku. She has a strong attack damage inflicted at full stem 40% as her sole trait. Range unit, lacerate on all of her abilities except for her Soul Bomb. She also does have freeze on that. She has the enemies defeated gimmick. At 20% enemies defeated, you get 20% full stem. 40 enemies, 40% full stem damage boost. She's immune to the fire status element. She recovers stamina in between stages, which is really good. If your unit takes damage, you can pretty much use this skill to heal them. Full stamina only, increase strong attack damage 40%. Havoc 20%, Frenzy +2, Defibrillator +2 seconds. Increase damage to status element affected enemies 40% for technique units. Weaken defense, long strike, guard break plus hit enemies, and the status element spiritual pressure boost. So this is a pretty good unit that you can use for the last slot. Though I believe it is the free status element that is in the last slot, so this fire immunity one, it doesn't matter. You're just still gonna have to watch out for the status element. Alright, so another unit you can use is this Notoria. He has a damage taken minus 20% soul trait. He's a ranged unit. Weakened on all of his status element. He is immune to the free status element, so you don't have to worry about the status element in the current Limit Breaker quest. Bruiser's at 50%, Berserker's at 60%. Increased technique attribute on rank and normal attack damage 20%. So his NADs will be doing 20% more damage. Long reach, flurry +1. Increased range damage in Guild Quest. Well, that won't really matter. Damage to weakened enemies. Increased killer effect. And increased killer effect in Guild Quest. Guild Quest skills won't really matter. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure this increased killer effect plus 30% does work in the Limit Breaker quest. If it doesn't, that really wouldn't make much sense in my opinion. But as a NAD unit, yeah, I'd say you can definitely use this unit, especially since he is immune to the freeze status element. So I think this would probably be the best in slot 1. I mean, that's just me preferably because I really like NAD units over SP units. And speaking of NAD units, here's probably my favorite unit in the game, the 1000-Year Blood War Aizen. He has a normal attack damage plus 20%. Range unit, boost on his SA2 as well as the barrier. He has weaken on all of his attacks, except his SA2 obviously. He does have the gauge effect, which gives him 100% bruiser, and he also decreased damage taken 50%. He is immune to the fire status element, but it's freeze in this Limit Breaker quest, so that really won't matter. He reads all affiliation dodges, which is great. He gets strong attack reduction 30% when he activates his gauge. He has a bruiser of 60% here, flurry +1, defibrillator +5 seconds. Increased status element chance against speed attribute enemies, enhancer, poised multi-barrier +2. So this character will get 5 hits on his barrier while he's giving everyone else 3. Guard break plus hit enemies, any status element spiritual pressure boost. Yeah, I really like nat units, and I still think this is the best nat unit in the game, mostly because they really don't release a lot of nat units. And this is my favorite unit in the game, mostly because it is an Aizen, and he's very good. Alright, so now with all of the possible units that you can use for this limit breaker quest, I'm going to go ahead and make my team here to see what I can come up with. So here's my team. I'm going to be using this premium Lisa. Here's her build, T-set, fortification pill, and the lieutenant's badge. Now, as for the links, I gave my best link for the mine attribute to, just the anniversary white. But I'm going to be using this Candace. She has strong attack, recharge time, and damage to paralyzed enemies. This Toshiro, strong attack, recharge time, damage inflicted only at full stem. So we got to make sure we keep our full stem up so we can get that 20% increased strong attack damage. Damage inflicted at full stem and strong attack damage 20% from the Psychomon Aizen. And here we have my Lisa is only at 2 out of 5, so level 10 SP, level 10 focus. And the bonus abilities will be full stamina damage boost, any plus 200 SP. Take a quick look at the white here. Here's his build. As I mentioned earlier, I did give him my best links. And here's, he's 5 out of 5 max percentage that you can see here. Bonus abilities, full stamina damage boost. And, I guess I gave him weakened defense. I'll change this real quick. And there we go, the plus 200 SP there. And now, obviously, I'm going to be using the 1000-Year Blood War Aizen. Here's his build right here. As for the character links, I gave him strong attack reduction and full stamina damage leak. So just to get his SA2 back faster with the strong attack reduction links and, full stem just to give him as much damage as possible at full stem. My Aizen's 5 out of 5 max ascendant, bonus abilities, full stamina damage boost, and the plus 200 attack. And so that's it for the build. Let's go ahead, jump in here and see what we can do. I think this will be one of the easier limit breaker quests just because, the 8th anniversary white and the 1000-Year Blood War Aizen are still very, very great units. Even though that Aizen is coming up on 2 years old here pretty soon. And the, 8th anniversary white will be a year old here pretty soon. I think the only one that might give us a problem is the Lisa just because, she's kind of old. And she doesn't have that lot of amazing skills. But she has the two most important skills, which is the increased status element chance and the status element spiritual pressure boost. That combination of skills will just give any unit great longevity. Though we did get 2 new units that can go up to 120% spiritual pressure boost. So the 80% spiritual pressure boost skill is kind of getting power crept, which is kind of unfortunate. Yeah, this Aizen is just absolutely gonna tear through this. Well, I guess they're called bosses for the stages, but I guess those bosses enemies will probably give us a hard time. Maybe for this Lisa, yeah. But since they are paralyzed right now, we're gonna have that 20% increased damage to paralyzed enemies because I did put that resurrected Candace on here. She's a newer resurrection unit. So I guess that extra 20% damage to the paralyzed enemies will help out, since she already does have the damage to increase the lacerated enemies. Don't have to worry about this unit at all. Like, literally, it's just so free. Aizen here will probably have no problems either. Yeah. Just make sure we have our gauge and our SA2 up at the same time. That will definitely help. Do we take damage? Oh, that's not good. So we lost our full stem, which is not good at all. But as you can see, it doesn't really matter just because this unit is just very, very good. Yeah, no problems going through that stage. Do need to pick up the pace here though. I was not paying attention to my strong attack. Yeah, this unit's just free. I mean, he has good strong attacks. He deals, just great damage, and not to mention his soul bomb does hit hard as well. So really don't have anything to worry about. Unfortunately, I don't have the 8th anniversary Ichigo, so I really don't know what he can do, but he does have Frenzy +3. He's the only unit in the game that has, like, just Frenzy +3 as his kit without any conditions. The 1000-Year Blood War King Do can get Frenzy +3. He has Frenzy +2 in his kit, and he gets Frenzy +1 when he activates his gauge. So he has Frenzy +3 for that duration of his gauge being active. But other than that time, yeah, it's just Frenzy +2. So technically, the 8th anniversary Ichigo is the only unit with Frenzy +3 that can have that without activating any conditions. Obviously, if we had our full stem, we'd be doing a lot more damage, but it's just still pretty easy. Now, it's very, very important that we keep our full stem with these SP units. Well, not pretty much the 8th anniversary White, since he has Drain, but this Elisa here. She's pretty old. Well, she's very old. She's 2 years old, so she'll need her full stem damage a lot more than, the 8th anniversary White will. Waiting for our strong attacks to come back. It's unfortunate. Taking a little bit of time. Those lacerated 6 were hitting for a lot. Did you see that? I wasn't really paying any attention to it. Oh, these tanky enemies are slowing us down quite a bit. I didn't soul bomb. I always forget the soul bomb. I don't know why. I just do. I'm pretty sure we can get through this stage in enough time. Maybe. Don't have our gauge. Don't have our SA2 here. This might be it. Yeah, I think this is it. Alright, not bad. Definitely could have gone better. I did lose the Aizen's full stem, which is unfortunate. Alright, so that was my limit breaker run. I managed to complete 17 out of the 22, missions here. For a first run, I don't think it was too bad. Obviously, if you're someone that has the newer units, for example, maybe you have a better unit for this first slot, you can probably get it done a lot faster than I could. This 8th anniversary White, he'll have no problem. The Aizen, I did lose his full stem, unfortunately, so we did do slightly less damage. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. And as usual, until next time.